No, they already cut it that quick. They already cut it. You hear me? Let's have a toast for the douchebags. I want to hear that. Driver, can you play Kanye West Runaway? Nah, that pool party was fun as hell.
Oh, my leg.
That pool party was fun.
Welcome to the Thunderdome.
That shit, even though it looks so
Done.
stupid, but it's dumb fun. Yeah, it's only fun because everybody's involved. If it was just like, if you the only person at the pool party doing that, that shit gonna be lame. Why tired? Why do y'all be asking me why am I tired after I just... Yeah, he did that. Really, bumper. From drifting? Seriously. Yeah, they not. I can't wait to get my Demon SRT Hellcat Lightning McQueen V8 1000 horsepower. I don't think it's gonna cost 90 I feel like 150 for all of it. Yeah, it's gonna be like 150. Call the haircut girl. Yo, the haircut girl. The braider. I'd be like, why are you tired? So I got up at 10 a.m. No, not even 10 a.m. I got up at 9 a.m. Started to do a whole stream here. I can actually sing when my voice is like that. I sing better than Jamal. My voice has been so overused on the keyboard. They're asking for a photo and a video of the Wow, he's right. Like, look at this shit. I'm fucking Tiger Woods.
Vale, verga.
$10 IRL every day for 15 days straight as well. Is, we're doing it for another 19. What? Why is he on her ass like this? That's so weird. This fucking charger's on her, like he's on her ass. That's so weird. He's like right there. It's weird.
No.
But I get what y'all saying though. I really do. Like trust me, if I started like prime hours, IRL stream prime hours every day, it would get so choppy, bro. They'd be like, alright, bro. I'd be like, alright, bro. I don't even wanna really IRL stream for real. My name's Ted said when you drop a medic round. Coming soon. Taking Mr. Bob Ballerina. Earlier is better, don't waste the sunlight. Exactly, bro.
Bitch ran out of fucking ammo. What's the
I
Kanye
can't
song?
get this feeling off of me. Yeah, that channel is still, that video is still going up. See, my TV broke when watching your European summer live streams. How did that happen? What he's doing? It's being weird. No, no, no. See, bro, they sketchy as hell. This driver's real sketchy. He's been literally on her ass the whole time, like on her ass.
You know, I don't take myself too seriously. I don't take myself anywhere, really. I need to get out more.
I don't know what she do to me. Yeah, where's the other security at? Fuck is he home, bro?
Welcome to the Thunderdome.
Yo.
Gun run.
I know what she do to me.
What's up, mate?
I know mine. I was just trying to make sure my mic was working.
Oh, it's working.
She said, "Will you live it over, man? And you be shooting me."
Oh, no way. That was fucking.
He at the top.
He's one.
Bro, he's literally on her butt the whole time. He's like literally on her butt. Like he's not even like a couple. He's not even backed off. You just put a flashlight. You won't be able to see. No, we're not doing that. I would have just hit, slammed the fucking gas. And switch lanes. You gotta switch lanes. Switch lanes and get behind. Switch lanes and get in front of somebody else. Because then he can't be behind you. That's not easy. It's not hard. Alright, well, he's gonna be on her ass. What?
What the hell is that?
The EP driver.
No, I deserve to die. I deserve to die from that one.
What's the bullets going?
What? EP? So there's a show driver and a bodyguard driver. When it comes to driving. Nah, driver. Nah, driver. Thank you.
Oh my god. One fucking back, bro. What the fuck?
No way!
I'm about to get sick of this. You thought I, like, what did you thought I said?
Hit that fool one time so I can hit him with the knife.
He's just right there.
Nah!
You should have told her that we picked work.
You are the
You said that?
Shh.
Yeah, young guy, you can tell he did. He was like, yeah.
¿Qué ladras, bombón? Let's just play with Rocky.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Lightning McQueen rap. I always wanted a Lightning McQueen car. I was gonna get a Porsche. I want a Demon SRT. Okay. I want a
fall down some weird rabbit hole online. Like, for example, I don't know, maybe Googling every entry and all of the different Pokemon icebergs that you can find. And from doing that, somehow you end up on these Reddit threads that like don't have an ending no matter how long you scroll. But at the same time, you sort of don't want it to end because you've been reading into fan theories for like 3 hours and you're so invested at this point. Yeah, me neither. But I will tell you exactly why we're gathered here today. I found so many different iceberg entries scattered across like YouTube videos, Reddit posts, I think page 18 of Google at one point. So, like the gentleman I am, I decided I would take all of my favorite theories and research them a step further. And that turned into me writing a Google Doc with, I think, like 11,000 words in it. And that Google Doc turned into whatever this abomination is that you're watching now. Also known as the definitive, the ultimate, the best of the best Pokemon Iceberg. But maybe don't put too much weight on that title, as these are just my favorite entries, and I'm sure there's a few fan theories that you've already heard, but of course, I'm hoping there's a few you haven't. So, starting with the lightest and probably most well-known, and progressively getting, well, consistently worse as we dive deeper into the video. You know, sort of like how an iceberg works. But anyways, now, sit back, grab some creamed corn, maybe a glass of milk with some ice in it, and let's get started. Lavender Town. Lavender Town embodied horror as good as it possibly could have for a game released in 1996. The story of this town is shrouded in mystery, surrounding a Marowak that was killed by Team Rocket. Upon arriving, the player is tasked with climbing the tower, being home to a Pokemon graveyard, filled with trainers mourning their lost Pokemon. But while this in itself was spooky, the creepypasta that was born from Lavender Town takes
Shit. Aquí estoy, estúpido. I fucking pressed it, bro. No. No.
A significantly darker turn, as the hoax of Lavender Town Syndrome was born. This stemmed from the soundtrack created by Junichi Masada, and rumor has it that the Lavender Town soundtrack awakened some sleeper cell in children's minds, causing them to, at worst, unalive themselves, but also causing them to complain of things like severe nausea and migraines, and exhibit irrational behaviors. This syndrome was allegedly
fuck?
attributed to the high sound frequencies found within the soundtrack that can
excuse
only
me.
be
Oh my
heard by
God.
children, and probably like dogs too. And as a grown man reading this creepypasta to you, I can genuinely say that for many years of my childhood, this was one theory that I actually thought was real. It gained so much popularity that it just seemed like a well-known piece of lore within the Pokemon franchise. But the reason that I chose to start off with this specific entry is that it was really this entry that paved the way for so many more to come, giving life to a darker side of Pokemon and allowing imaginations to just run wild. Green shiny Pokemon. Shiny Pokemon are rare variants of Pokemon that are differently colored than other Pokemon of their species. If you're feeling lucky, you've got a 1 in 8,192 chance of stumbling upon one, meaning that ultimately the majority of casual players are unlikely to ever cross one in their journey. Some have incredible variations, and some are so dogshit you probably wouldn't even be able to tell them apart from the original had I not told you that they were shiny. But no form of shiny is more widely despised than the infamous mustard green shinies that lurk among us. There are well over 100 green shiny Pokemon, ranging from a neon green so bright it could blow your eyeballs clean out of their sockets, to a honey mustard relish mix so unappealing that if I ever did find one in the wild, I would probably just smile and nod and continue to walk past it. The alleged reason behind the seemingly never-ending horror of ugly shiny Pokemon is said to have been due to an algorithmic sort that hand-picked the colors that a shiny variation would be given. This is said to be the reason behind the shiny variations of Pokemon like Gengar or Garchomp that are virtually the exact same color. But as the franchise switched to 3D in X and Y, shinies began being intentionally designed. So that would explain why Mega Gengar, introduced in Gen 6, looks the way that it does, and of course regular Gengar looks the way that it does. But that explanation didn't really suffice, as the game's codebase never showed anything regarding a shiny picking algorithm. However, at one point, a color editing tool containing 3 variations was pulled from the debug menu in Gold and Silver, almost providing concrete evidence that these horrors among us were actually man-made. Because if not, why would an editing tool be required if these colors were just going to be generated by some sort of algorithm regardless? Clefable's Shadow. Since Pokemon's conception, fans have picked up on the striking similarities that exist between Gengar and Clefable. On the surface, it's not really there, but if you solely look at these two Pokemon from a design perspective, these two share almost identical bodies, arms, legs, and ears, hair and tail being the only defining characteristics that really set these two apart. So now, from this, it's theorized that Gengar could be Clefable's Shadow, outside of being known as the Shadow Pokemon, and its name supposedly being derived from the word doppelganger, meaning the ghostly double of a person. There's also polarizing Pokedex entries to support this theory, with Clefable's Pokemon Red and Blue entry reading, a timid fairy Pokemon that is rarely seen. It will run and hide the moment it senses people, while Gengar's reads a much different. Under a full moon, this Pokemon likes to mimic the shadows of people and laugh at their fright. It's known canonically that ghost-type Pokemon like to feed on the life force of unsuspecting victims, which would essentially leave Clefable to be haunted eternally by its own shadow. Missing No.
Meh.
Missing No is by far the
Meh.
most well-known glitch Pokemon associated with the games. This creature is an unofficial Pokemon species that can be found in Red and Blue. By
Yeah, I heard about
first
this one.
watching the Old Man's Catch demonstration in Viridian City, then flying to Cinnabar Island, and surfing up and down the coast until you eventually encounter it. By following this specific series of events, the player somehow disrupts the game's random encounter system and forces the system to generate a Pokemon with an invalid identifier, causing Missing No to appear as a hybrid bird normal type Pokemon. Missing No is also known
It's a
to
mythical
appear in
pick
several
Pokemon.
forms, the most
No
iconic
way.
being the purple and orange L shape that's commonly referenced when describing the Pokemon. But it also comes in the form of a Roadkill Blaziken, a Lavender Town Ghost, or a Kabutops or Aerodactyl Fossil Sprite. While encountering Missing No causes some graphic anomalies throughout the game, such as completely fucking breaking the Hall of Fame, catching Missing No also has its effects, as this changes gameplay by increasing the number of items in the 6th entry of a player's inventory by 128. This has obviously led to such things as rare candy exploits. It's kind of like running action replay moves before that thing ever existed. It's now said that Missing No is the most famous glitch among video games to date, but this isn't really a bad thing. This glitch itself is covered in things.
Marking our surroundings. Pitiful, allowing themselves to be caught. Poppy smoke.
That's crazy. You can still get 14 seconds of.
Battling the enemy. Reloading. And Scotty landed near me. Stay alert. Marking our surroundings.
Where did this one come from? I didn't even hear that one.
There's a vast and densely populated universe between how you think
It was not my time.
Well, that went horrible.
Ambush! Ambush! Get rid of the ship. The ring is close. Scanning the area. Broken enemy shield. Fire! Pop smoke. Smoke. I downed a hostile. I'm poking them. Give my shield a recharge. Marking our surroundings. Almost there. We are close to the ring. Taking fire. It's a broken enemy shield. Take out. Don't put me on the list of casualties yet. Termite grenade. Got a hostile. Grid down. I'm down. All forward.
No! No. That fool was low. That's some bullshit.
Things such as strategy guides and magazines at the time of its discovery, and it's still thought to have played a massive role in increasing the game's popularity. Ash's Coma. The infamous This coma theory pretty much surrounds every single anime or related series in some way. It's become like the modern day version of finishing your essay with, "and it was all a dream." But Ash's coma has become such a cult classic at this point, I just felt
Gosh.
rude passing it over. In the first episode of the anime, Ash can be seen just eating shit on his head, and then getting shocked by his companion, Pikachu. This is said to have been what sent Ash into this deep, dark coma. The theory states that every episode after this is nothing more than his imagination running wild in a comatose state, giving reason as to why he never ages within the series. At its core, this theory is nothing more than just like some lazy, uninspired fan theory among a million other coma theories. I absolutely hate these, but I felt like we had to cover them. The Ho-Oh immortality theory.
Oh, the
In the
Goku one
very
too?
first episode of the Pokemon anime, Ash sees the legendary Pokemon Ho-Oh fly above him as he stares in awe. But what's peculiar about this being put on display in the first episode actually comes from the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl Pokedex entry for Ho-Oh. And that entry reads, "Ho-Oh possesses 7 colored wings, and it's said that those who see Ho-Oh are promised eternal happiness." The popular theory behind Ash seeing Ho-Oh in the first episode is rooted in the idea that Ash's version of eternal happiness lies in the worry-free life of an explorative 10-year-old. However, many people dispute this as the series actually revolves around Ash's journey to become the best Pokemon trainer of all time, something that a 10-year-old would potentially face difficulties in doing, and this entire theory being based off of one individual entry in an unrelated Pokedex seems like a bit of a stretch. But another thing that I've heard, those who see Ho-Oh when watching a Pokemon Iceberg video are more likely to subscribe, so hey, whoa.
Oh my
do it
god,
now,
bro. Goes
subscribe,
my
do it
mad ass
now.
out of here.
Mew is a failed Ditto clone. Mew being a failed Ditto clone is one of the theories on this list that actually has evidence to back it up, making it one of the more believable theories that I was able to find. While many people deem it to be untrue, the similarities are kind of hard to combat.
Maybe. No. Fucking definitely dead. Fucking knew it. No.
There's a void in your heart.
Well, that was fucking tough.
At this point, allow me to explain. Both Ditto and Mew weigh exactly 8.8 pounds, both of which have no gender, and these are the only 2 Pokemon who can learn the move Transform from level 1. This is incredibly rare, considering that only 2 Pokemon in the entire universe can actually learn this move. Even Zoroark's illusion ability, while similar to what Transform can do, is still leagues below how incredible this power actually is. On top of all of this, Ditto has 2 specific spawn locations, Cerulean Cave and the
That's
Pokemon
sad how they
Mansion.
use them
This
to breed,
carries
though.
significance because Mewtwo was cloned from Mew within the Pokemon Mansion. From there, it fled to Cerulean Cave, where it made the cave its home. So, with all this in mind, it's thought that at one point, Ditto was to be some sort of Mew or Mewtwo clone, but obviously this idea was scrapped in production, leaving only a breadcrumb trail of a connection that could have been. The almost Imposter Oak. Imposter Oak refers to a trading card in which Professor Oak is depicted in a much cooler and villainized way. And that was about as much as we knew about Imposter Oak, until 2018 when the Space World dump had been released, something we'll be diving into in greater detail if you don't already know what it is. But anyways, when this data came to the surface, inside, an Imposter Oak sprite was scraped from the data, and it's thought that Imposter Oak was to be a key villain at some point in the game before being scrapped. So now all we have left is the card and the thought of what could have been. Hypno belongs behind bars. This theory was kickstarted from the Fire Red Pokedex entry, which states, Hypno carries a pendulum-like device. There was once an incident in which it took away a child it hypnotized. This led fans to believe that Hypno had less than good intentions involving its hypnosis powers. And just in case that singular entry wasn't bad enough, Pokemon had doubled down with the release of their Sleeper 097 shirt. This shirt depicted a Hypno sporting his pendulum.
That's
leading
crazy.
FBI leading two children. FBI get here now. Leading two children away by hand. Since this depiction, fan theories have absolutely run wild in every way you could possibly imagine. And really, like, can you blame them? And the majority of these theories are bordering the truth. As in Sun and Moon, you can also find a journal entry written in a notebook describing a situation
fuck is
where
Cage,
Hypno
bro?
was picking up a
diamond on
new
his
kid
back?
at the school.
That is
So,
diamond on
hey
his back.
dude, go to prison. The Lost Space
That shit
World
looks
Media.
good.
In 1997, an early build demo of the games
Tell
Pokemon
me why I
Gold
can't
and
get out of-
Silver had been shown at Nintendo's Space
Am
World
I
from
that
November
bad?
21st to 23rd. At this point in time, the game was
If you're playing the same way. Oh,
Sorry, I'm sorry.
It's all about positioning.
What do you say?
It's all about positioning.
Oh yeah. And plus, like, he's stuck in goals. That means you keep playing the same consistent way, like that got you up out of goal or into gold. You need to play like you're trying to get out of gold.
Yeah, you need to change the way you play.
I'm literally plat 1 right now. I just haven't been able to play a whole lot of rank.
I haven't played any. Do you think it would be worth, like, seriously hiring a coach, like a coaching person?
Watch YouTube
No.
videos. Just watch professionals play. That's it.
I mean, yes and no, but like, brother, I made it to Masters by myself. You feel me? Nobody taught me nothing. I kept playing and kept playing, kept learning from my mistakes.
I'm doing the same shit that's in these kills. I need to change that.
I also don't help that you're on PC. I can run through these PlayStation lobbies easily.
Run PlayStation 2.
Yeah, console's easier. Ooh, she's one. I don't know where he came from. I don't know what the heck was shooting me.
I come to run through there, come to you guys, and I'm getting gunned down right now.
Oh, it's also came awareness.
Right here.
No.
Thank you, Dusty.
No way. Wow. Wow.
I tried, bro. I'm almost dead.
Yeah, he's gonna have to come back for us.
Round two.
I do not know how I just dipped in between those two teams.
I'm good.
Marking our surroundings. Go get it, Stinger. Only the two of us. That enemy shield is broken. Recharging my shield. Took down an opponent.
No, he's won.
Gone horsey. You played the game. I played you.
I threw you a little bit of cover. I'm gonna rotate.
It got him away from me.
Track it out. The ring is close. Time graces us.
I'm rotating.
Recharging my shields. Cover me. I left us prey, but return. Half the squads remain.
I had to reposition.
The ring is near. Closing in 30, amici. Opponent there. Huh. They should not have given up their position. Marking our surroundings. Down that hostile. Great kill. I'm glad you're with me. Reloading. Dropping a grenade. Reloading. Recharge. Bullseye. Enemy tracked. Bless me with sight. Reloading. Ox calling upon nature's strength.
Pushing with him.
Let us
No way. Hit me on the way down.
In the back up.
Thank you.
recharging my shields. Cover me. Tagging a bomb. Taking fire. Marking my surroundings.
Round three. Beginning ring countdown. Loot
I'm
bin
gonna just
restock.
post up on Skull over here.
Tracker dart. Out. Reload. Marking our surroundings.
What the fuck? That actually came out of nowhere.
Holy fuck. That's wild.
There's no need.
Dashed and oh my god. Oh.
He still had self-res.
Recharging my shields. Stinger incoming.
I don't think I did. Oh, did he come after you? Did he jump?
Spirits forward.
He can suck my dick. That nigga can suck my dick. That nigga a whole ass bitch. On my mama, nigga.
I'm back. Didn't really have any other plans.
Good shot. That's my fucking boy.
Took out a hostile. Let's start attacking. All front.
I'm back. Didn't really have.
The Lifelines won.
I knocked him. I knocked him.
Damn, you almost made it.
Fucking, I hate you fucking. That's all I can say. I'm gonna hop off right there, Dusty. Fuck all your PC players. Look, can never beat me in a 1v1. I don't give a fuck who you is, what rank you is. You now fucking beating me. Good. Much love, my boy. Have a good one. Good. Stupid ass fucking hate takes. I'm gonna go back to playing.
Wait, man, it's Publix, man. Why is this man mad? Ooh, 4 mile run. I'm about to make a map, bro, cause
estimated to be about 80% complete, and it was set to be released in the coming months. However, due to various delays, including a complete overhaul of the game, it didn't end up being released until '99, leaving these demos to perish along with the abandoned ideas and Pokemon displayed in the demo. Very little was known about this demo, due to the majority of the game being locked off from player access. The only thing that was really left behind that could vouch for its existence were a few photos of the event and the memories from those who had actually gotten their hands on the demo at the time of Space World. However, on May 26th, 2018, that all changed when an anonymous user dumped these demos, allowing players to explore the data that was blocked off at the time of Space World. And much of what was blocked off to the player was widely unfinished anyways, but that doesn't mean some gems weren't discovered in the process. Over 100 never-before-seen sprites of various Pokemon had been recovered, and it's funny to look over these and think about what actually could have came from this. Spinda doubles. You all know Spinda, right? Of course you do. It's everyone's 905th favorite Pokemon. But hey, come on. Even though Spinda might not have an evolution or a single good stat, and while we're at it, seemingly any redeeming traits at all, I mean, I guess it's kind of cool that each and every Spinda that you see in the wild is sporting its own unique pattern. There's a random generation of over 4,294,967,296 possible outcomes for the pattern on a Spinda. And the odds of 2 people discovering the same pattern on a Spinda but in a shiny form are over 8 billion to 1. Sort of like the odds of anyone actually liking Spinda. Meaning to this day, there are probably billions of undiscovered Spindas just waiting to be discovered. But they probably won't be because who's looking? The Great Pokemon War. The Great Pokemon War, or the Kanto War, is a fan theory stemming from the gym leader of Vermilion City, LT Surge. When you first encounter Surge
no, I'm
in
going to stay
Vermilion
outside.
City, he speaks of how electric Pokemon saved his life during the war, but he never elaborates or really gives any further explanation on
Nice. The worst guns I can fucking grab. Oh, no way. That guy's mad. I'd be mad. Go kill her! That fucking bitch. My friend, you have the other guy in front of you. Shoot him.
Giving him the chimney.
I return to the hunt. Fire! Broke that enemy shield. I love this play, but I'm taking fire, friends.
Okay. I was bullets for days.
Smoke out. Go down. Ambush, ambush. There's another squad.
I would say thanks, but I brought my gun back. No thanks.
What the fuck? That fool cravered me from far.
On the topic. But in a world where children go out on great adventures, most adults you meet are either gym leaders or involved in organized crime.
Thought I'd come back. Taking fire.
I have come to save them.
Firing.
Here I come, back from the sky.
New kill leader. Call the squad. Taking fire.
Looks like we took out the kill leader. Cool.
Got it.
Marking our surroundings. Recharging my shields. I got a hostile. We should go that way.
Give my shields a
Get ready, it's zipline time. The enemy's shooting at me. Broke that enemy shield. Reloading. I am down.
taking fire. Cracked enemy shield.
But alive.
What's this place bare?
Down a hostile and Scotty.
Old Pain was stocking it.
If I had my thingy.
Return to the hunt. Marking our surroundings. Here I go. I Oh no, there's another squad attacking. Open fire on the enemy. Let's manage them. I have been down.
Cracked an enemy shield. Down the target. Taking fire. Up in the chimney.
Another precise.
Cracked it. They got me. I'm down.
Oh no, there's another. I have been down. I am the last one. I will not I could hear cheers through the I'm taking fire.
No.
Fans have started to come to the conclusion that the lack of young to middle-aged adults could allude to the fact that there was a massive war that took place in Kanto or involved a large portion of the population of Kanto. This idea caught some wind due to the fact that a lot of players in the game seem overly paranoid, as well as you, the main character, not having a father, and your rival being an orphan. While this theory has many branches that it can stem into, it always returns to LT Surge's in
Leave it, Vena. The battle belongs to only us now.
Ring ain't far.
But was fun.
sir. Okay. It's a whole other squad.
Initial statement. Bikini balls. In Pokemon Black and White, when painfully trying to avoid those swimmer battles, if you encounter the right swimmer, you might learn something new about Pokeball storage in the world of Pokemon. Upon being challenged by the swimmer, she will say, "If I'm wearing a bikini, where do I put my Pokeballs?" What a secret. This is even doubled down on later in the series. In Sun and Moon, when encountering a swimmer, she will say, "It's tough fetching Pokeballs from my bikini." While maybe not a creepy entry in the series, you still can't deny that this is weirdly uncharacteristic for a Pokemon game to include things of this nature. Okay, you know what? Maybe fucking not, actually. The Hex Maniac Ghost. It's no secret that X and Y had their share of creepy stuff taking place. But for years, fans have been stumped by the presence of a Hex Maniac who resides in Lumio City. You can find this ghost when entering the second floor of the office building. The lights will flicker and the Hex Maniac model will appear behind the player. Upon entering, the ghost will hover in front of you until she's about to exit the screen, but leaving one last message before she does. No, you're not the one. Pretty strange message to have coded into the game with no further explanation. But thanks to this ghost, many theories have been given life, such as this being an unauthorized implementation built by a developer working on the game. But that theory never gained much traction, as fans have suspected this Hex Maniac could have potentially appeared multiple times. If you visit the 4th floor of the hotel in Lumio City, you'll also find an identical character model, which doesn't necessarily mean it's the same person, although bearing a striking resemblance in the words that she speaks. If prompted, this new Hex Maniac will say, "Don't talk to me. If you do, I can't hear the elevator." The unknown character even makes a cameo in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, where you can find this alleged ghost girl hanging out in a cemetery. This theory was kind of hard to find information on, so if anyone has any updated information regarding it, please feel free. Comment below. Comment below anyways. Tell me how you're doing. Mewtwo. Much like the infamous Xbox 720 and the beloved PS4 prototype, it turns out that Mewtwo is nothing but something we all just kind of heard once and then forgot about. With Pokemon
The fuck is
like
that?
Mew and Mewtwo being around for ages, it's not a surprise that fans would speculate on one day laying their eyes on something as mythical as Mew 3. But in all honesty, that might be something that you'll regret. Although Mew 3 has never made an appearance in any of the games, Mew 3 was actually once featured in the Pokemonster manga. After a Clefairy's DNA is merged with that of a Mewtwo, we finally got to see something much scarier than anything you
fuck?
find in Lavender. And of course, that would be Mew 3. So next time you're tweeting and you're
Alien
looking for
movie.
some new information regarding Mew 3, maybe turn your attention towards like Mew 4 or 5 and hope that we just skip this. Illegal and banned Pokemon.
Golden
Illegal Pokemon refer to a list of Pokemon that are not allowed to enter into competitive battles or tournaments. And for some reason, Hypno isn't on this list. That's the FBI's most wanted list. This list, however, consists of legendary mascots and event Pokemon, but there's also a list of banned Pokemon cards. Now, usually, these cards get banned from the TCG due to overpowered strategies. But that isn't the case for a few banned cards. Some are outright banned due to their offensive artwork, such as Misty's Tears or this Grimer. Bro, what are you doing? Illegal
Oh, that fool's
Pokemon
fucking-
are also known as hacked or glitched Pokemon, in which players can be
Weird.
banned if your punk ass is found using them in battle or trading them in online play. So if you've still got that Game Shark or Action Replay kicking around, make sure you flush it down the toilet right now before Kabutops x Genesect. There's a long-time theory floating around that the Pokemon Kabutops and Genesect are somehow loosely related to one another. Despite the
That's so obvious.
physical similarities, it's actually what lies in the Pokedex that draws that there's more to the relationship between these two than we think. Kabutops' previous evolution Pokedex entry reads, "It is thought to have inhabited beaches 300 million years ago. It is protected by a stiff shell." While Genesect's entry reads an eerily similar, this Pokemon existed 300 million years ago. Team Plasma altered it and attached a cannon to its back. With the Pokedex entry linking these two back to the same time period and the physical similarities,
That's just a different-
I don't know, pretty convincing. However, it was
Just a
argued
different
that due to
evolution.
the fact that Kabutops is a rock-type Pokemon while Genesect is a bug steel, it doesn't really make sense. But based on looks alone, Kabutops was most likely a bug/water-type Pokemon, with the fossilization of its species being what actually caused the bug to rock-type transformation. information. So with all of this in mind, it would make a lot of sense to say that Genesect is actually nothing more than a genetically altered Kabutops. Leave a comment on this one, I actually want to
No.
know what everybody thinks.
It's just an evolution
for
from some
dinner.
other fucking
This
place.
is a theory that's been around since Pokemon first arrived on the scene. The dark and ghastly backstory of Pokemon being hunted and the predator-prey relation of Pokemon in the wild. But the bone-chilling reality yeah, animals
Fight me, perro. No, don't kill me, sir. I don't wanna die. No! Fuck!
eat each other in real life too. However, it's hard to call this entry a theory when several Pokemon are canonically known for being hunted down, sold on the black market, or for just simply being downright delicious. In the anime, it's referenced by Professor Oak that he would have eaten Gary's Krabby over Ash's due to the size of it. Our good pal Appleton is known for having the flesh on his back chomped off by children.
Press me, my friendo. Oh, chetos. Damn it. Shoot 'em, culero. Bro, you wanna fucking help out? Behind you, landing on you, landing on you. That's crazy.
Shut up. I tried, man. Fuck off.
That's crazy, bro. I'm not. I mean, nothing like he was so low, dude.
No, stop. I don't want to hear it.
He was so low,
I don't
dude.
want to hear it, man. Cállate, pendejo.
Bro, that shit was.
Cállate,
It
cállate.
was one, bro. Uno,
You
way.
saw
Estaba
nothing.
uno, way. Next time. You'll get him next time. It's okay. No. Quiero vivir. No te mueras. Thank you. Behind. Me caí a la verga.
That's a real Pokedex entry. And in case you forgot, there's an entire plot line dedicated to Team Rocket selling Slowpoke tails, as they're supposedly one of the most sought after meals in the land. And maybe if you're having one of those, you could wash it down with some of Shuckle's bodily fluids. But outside of simply just eating these Pokemon, the
What the
poaching and
fuck?
hunting of Pokemon is also known to be true. Gabite's scales can be ground up and used in medicinal powder, and for the love of God, we can only hope that Gabite actually sheds these scales from time to time. Otherwise, the nod can be taken that humans are known to hunt and slay these things in the name of scientific discovery, so hey, it's okay. But other Pokemon, like Sharpedo for example, have almost gone extinct due to the overfishing or hunting of the species in order to sell the dorsal fin, as just like that slippery Slowpoke tail, this was considered an elite delicacy. Relicanth is a map. In Pokemon Emerald, it's known that to catch the legendary Regis, you need to be coming correct. And this means having a big, girthy Wailord in the front of your party and an ancient Relicanth filling up that caboose. And once you begin to run train and search for the Regis, it's said that the Relicanth acts as a map of Hoenn, used to unveil exactly where one or all of these Regis could be hiding. The Regis being as old as dirt, and Relicanth somehow being older, is just a testament that kind of adds to the belief of this theory. Mindy's Haunter. In Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, there is a rotten old bitch offering to trade your Metacam for her Haunter. On the surface, this is an incredible deal. If you're a veteran of the series, then you probably already know that Haunter is only known to evolve by trade, so this essentially guarantees you a Gengar. But upon making the deal with Mindy, you might notice something strange. When this Haunter arrives, it's still a Haunter. Upon finalizing this trade, Mindy will laugh and ask if her Haunter had turned into something else, before saying, "Just kidding, bro," and telling you that she actually made it hold something to prevent evolution, an Everstone. And simply by doing this,
That is
Mindy has
fucked up.
gained the opposite of a cult following, a deep cult hatred, with the subreddit r/fuckmindy garnering over 20,000 users.
That is
Glitch
fucking
City.
wild. No
Glitch
way.
City is a map loading glitch that can be accessed through Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow. Glitch City can be accessed by following a plethora of steps that involve going in and out of the Safari Zone, saving, restarting the game, emailing me your credit card details, and a few others. But once you've arrived inside Glitch City, it's a bit of a visual dumpster fire. The terrain consists of random combinations of whatever 8x8 pixel tiles happen to be in memory. So sometimes this ends up being like text characters and random bits of terrain. Walking too far in any direction will completely crash the game, because once inside, essentially you're in a corrupted copy of an otherwise normal game map, meaning that walking too far in one direction would essentially lead you to start walking through walls, thus exiting the map boundaries and breaking the game. But it's best to err on the side of caution when entering Glitch City, as the only way to exit is to have a Pokemon that knows Fly on your team. And if you save inside Glitch City without a Pokemon in your party that knows Fly, you'll be trapped for all eternity, unless you erase your save file. Beneath the Mimikyu's
That's
Reg.
crazy.
Mimikyu is a small Pokemon whose body
Mimikyu.
resides underneath a musty old Pikachu rag, only leaving what is to be considered the fringe of a foot or a lower body visible underneath. And while we both sit here wondering what lies underneath, that's actually an answer we both might not want. According to the Sun Pokedex entry, a scholar who once saw what lied underneath this rag was overwhelmed by terror and died from shock. But that's not the only reported case.
What the
It's
fuck
also
is
known
that?
a gust of wind had revealed what lies underneath to a trainer passing by, who later went home and died painfully that night. But Pokedex entries aside, these two are not the only ones to see what's underneath the cloth. In the anime, Meowth had once seen what was underneath before passing out. However, this episode led to more questions than answers for what potentially lies underneath. Kadabra, Cause and Effect. 2 decades ago, magician and illusionist, known for his iconic spoon bend.
That was said to it stink. No way. What an animal. I'll be back.
Taking fire. Reloading. Cut down an enemy.
Tracker in place.
Beginning ring countdown.
Put it on support in the fight. Bullseye. Enemy track. Opening fire.
Time to bind you. Open. Enemy shield cracked. Reloading. Enemy. I'm under fire.
Like Mario said, here we go.
Setting a tracker. Reloading. Attention. Enemy
enemy people. Oh shit, fuck that up. What's going out there?
Thanks for sticking with me. Davvero.
Cut down an enemy. I'm under fire. Our squad mate fell. Avenge them. One less enemy. Shoot. Enemy shield cracked. I've been downed.
Okay.
Thanks for sticking with me. Seriously.
I am back.
No, let me go. Wait. Everybody just fucking flew away.
Our squad mate fell. Avenge them.
Thanks for sticking with me.
Enemy shield cracked. Not so fast. Time to find you. Reloading.
Okay.
I shattered it. I'm under fire. Reloading. Cut down an enemy. Enemy killed.
Nice.
The enemy is moving in. Cut down an enemy. Reloading. One less enemy. I shattered an enemy shield. Another taken down. Reloading.
No.
There is only one path.
Thanks for sticking with me. Davvero.
A second squad. I've been down. Unacceptable.
Che palle. I'm the last one standing. I have to watch my own back now. I thought I'd come back, help out, fight strangers. Clever.
Well
Recharging my shields. 10 seconds before the ring moves. We're close. No excuses if you get burned. Reloading.
Setting a trap. Opponent found and tracked. What? Arc star out.
Taking fire. I shattered an enemy's shield. Opening fire. Recharging shield.
Enemy down.
Enemy on me. Moving that way.
Time to move. Gravity launcher here. Ha, here comes the sting.
Dannazione. I need help.
The tear to give us an edge.
I'm recharging my shields. We got another squad in the fight.
Bitch.
Tracker out.
Tracker set. I'm ready to gather it.
Stinger firing. Ready to ruin someone's day.
Enemy shield cracked.
Reload. Took down an opponent. Enemy down. Hey, they're shooting at me.
Taking fire. Enemy shield cracked.
The enemy shield is broken.
Cut down an enemy.
Last one down. Ciao, ciao.
Shields are depleted. Recharging.
Reloading. Whoa, getting shot at. Tracker scanning.
We lost one. Just you and me now.
We're close to the ring. We have 1 minute.
I'm down. But nobody look. Oh, close one. I'm recharging my shields.
The ring is near. 45 seconds remain.
They're shooting at me.
Whew, thanks for sticking with me. Seriously.
The ring is near. I'm closing in 30. I'm inching.
Did I die? Don't get my die.
Another squad is on us.
I broke an opponent's shield.
10 seconds until the ring closes. Another enemy falls.
Enemy.
Our squad mate fell. Hunted down. Unacceptable.
Andiamo. Get in the ring. We're all outside. Here comes the sting.
Others succumb, but I survive. Recharging.
Tracker out. I'm scanning for enemies. Bullseye. Enemy tracked. I'm recharging my shield. Here, turns up.
Fucking BC.
Ending tricks, Yuri Geller sued Nintendo in a California court for its Kadabra Pokemon card. Like, he didn't sue them for the Pokemon card, he sued them like because of the Pokemon card, alleging that the company used his likeness to create the character. The psychic Pokemon, which is always seen holding a bent spoon, is named Younger in Japan, essentially, you know, kind of linking him to the illusionist.
I'm back. Didn't really have any other plans.
Reloading.
Tracker in place.
Tracking an enemy. Let the ambush begin.
Near risk. Dropping a tracker. Enemy tracked.
And with this lawsuit coming at the height of the card game craze, Yuri had requested a halt to the creation and printing of Kadabra cards, which has been the reason behind the Pokemon's absence from the game to date. However, this story is one with a happy ending, as Geller may have finally come to his senses a mere 20 years later, tweeting, "I'm sorry for what I did 20 years ago, but you can learn from mistakes, even more than you can learn from success," allegedly lifting the ban of Kadabra card. But the Pokemon Company never replied to this, nor have they slapped Kadabra's face on any shiny cardboard. So I think this is one curious case that we just might never find to be resolved. Pokemon X Special Edition. A post on the r/gaming subreddit from a user that goes by the name of Gaming Prime had showcased a very unique version of Pokemon X, and this post reads as follows. "So I've been told by Nintendo's repair center that there's nothing wrong with my game, right after they wipe 30 hours of gameplay. I present to you Pokemon X Special Edition," and that's exactly what this user did. Attaching an album of horrifying photos depicting a clearly broken and bugged out version of Pokemon X. I mean, the most obvious issue being the lack of faces. But if you thought having no face was bad, how about no back at all? Maybe a hole in the head. Character and NPC heads seem to be missing as well, with certain textures just subbed out for a black hole alternative. But after further inspection from our good personal friend Gaming Prime, this user had actually figured out that it wasn't the game at all, but instead it was a faulty 3DS. But despite the game borderline being unplayable, I still don't think that I personally would have returned this console. However, for Gaming Prime, this story has a somewhat happy ending, as it appears that they were able to get a refund or exchange for the bug console. The Mythical Evolutions. The three legendary beasts are some of the most sought after and well-received legendary Pokemon to ever grace the franchise. The trio, composed of Raikou, Entei, and Suicune, were introduced in Pokemon Gold and Silver. With lore from the games and anime, fans of the series had learned that the trio was created when the Brass Tower burned down 150 years before Gen 2 took place, allegedly taking the lives of 3 unnamed Pokemon. Devastated by what had happened, Ho-Oh is said to have revived these 3 Pokemon and turned them into the legendaries that they are today, each one of them representing a stage of the tower's demise. Raikou, the electric Pokemon, symbolizes the lightning strike that started the fire. Entei, the fire Pokemon, symbolizes the embers that lit up the night sky. And Suicune, the water Pokemon, symbolizes the rain that eventually extinguished the flames. This has left fans to theorize over the potential matches that these 3 Pokemon could have been, eventually coming to the conclusion that these 3 dogs were actually the 3 original evolutions prior to their untimely death. Pokemon Shock. On December 16th, 1997, children across Japan crowded the TV and excitedly awaited an episode of Pokemon. However, some of the children that sat down that night never got to see the ending. Electric Soldier Porygon is one of the most widely circulated and infamous Pokemon stories worldwide. This was the 38th episode of the first season of the Pokemon anime series. This specific episode found Ash and friends teaming up with a Porygon to fix the Pokeball transfer system, of course defending the metaverse from Team Rocket. But nearing the end of the episode, Pikachu launches an attack against an oncoming barrage of rockets, leaving quite an unruly explosion to take place. This explosion allegedly caused up to 12,000 children.
Have an epilepsy attack. Epilepsy? Is that how you say it?
Falling from the sky and landing near me. Receiving damage.
Cut down enemy. The next ring's far. Do not get caught out like this.
First blood made by us. Good work.
Enemy down.
Giving my shields a recharge. Oh no, an enemy landed near me.
Setting it. An opponent drop near me. This is gonna be good. Getting shot at.
Taking damage, friends. I need help.
These times you can't like a rat in a trap. Enemy shield cracked. Thermite out. Reload.
Throwing thermite grenade.
Thermite out.
Taking damage, friends. Reloading. 1 minute. The ring is far.
Enemy down. Recharging my shields.
I came back without your help.
Chucking a thermite grenade. Chucking a thermite grenade. Arcs are out. Frag out. Enemies out.
I am taking fire. I am down. Contact with hostile.
Reloading. Cut down an enemy.
Making contact with enemy.
Enemy shields cracked.
Got an enhanced weapon. Ready to use it. Oh, we lost one.
Fuck that guy up
Just
top.
for me now. Took out an enemy. Who's next?
Recharging shields. A new kill leader. We have our target.
Jumpy, jumpy. I gotta fucking pee. Wait a minute. I'm gonna get something else other than this fucking shit, man.
Meet me here. Target acquired. There. My attention is level perfection. Not so fast. Time to mind you. Caught like a rat in a trap.
Took down an opponent. Enemy down.
Good job.
Reloading. Downed another opponent. Recharging my shields. Enemy there. Game on, Raga. Yep. Tossing frag. The enemy shield is broken. Took down an
Broke that enemy shield. Enemy down.
These bonds aren't easily broken. Delivering thermite. A second squad. Adjust your strategy.
Thank you for bringing me this.
sending out the tracker dart.
Thermite out.
Vete a la pinche verga, güey.
Recharging my shields. Cover me. Shooting at me. Reloading.
Taking damage. Throwing frag.
Got an enhanced weapon. Ready to use it. Enemy shield is broken.
Behind. You have to live. No. He was doing so good.
To experience epileptic seizures, as the strobing of blue and red light was said to have caused this. This led to the episode being immediately pulled from the air, and having Pokemon in general pulled from the network, remaining off air for 4 months. This even went as far as a full investigation into the production studio team, launched by the Otago Police Department at the discretion of Japan's National Police Agency. Nintendo shares dumped 5%, and retailers worldwide began stripping Pokemon merch off the shelves. But while this story is well known, the true numbers regarding the victims of this situation is kind of foggy. Of the 12,000 affected, it's said that only around 700 had sought medical attention, and of that 700, only 150 were admitted to hospital. Notably, many of these 12,000 cases have been thought to have come due to mass hysteria brought on by the news broadcast later that night outlining the situation at hand, alerting the viewers of the potential epileptic effects, while broadcasting the same clip that caused those epileptic effects. And well, obviously, we should all hope for those cases to just be zero across the board. The fascinating thing behind the Porygon episode is that it wasn't just Pokemon that underwent production changes. This incident pretty much changed the entire landscape of anime and media in general. Those kind of strobe effects didn't just vanish from Pokemon, but essentially everything. And well, obviously, Pokemon would go on to recover from this. This didn't stop the Pokemon Porygon from essentially getting blacklisted from all Pokemon anime and just lore in general. Recognizing this, on September 19th, 2020, the official Pokemon Twitter account posted and deleted a tweet that left an incredibly bad taste in many people's mouths. Although probably meant to be a harmless joke in relation to Porygon, I can still see why this was quickly removed. The Drifloon Reaper. On the surface, Drifloon just looks like a harmless, friendly little balloon, but maybe that's the issue that we're not addressing. Drifloon's Sun entry reads that not only does it grab onto the hands of small children and drag them into the afterlife, but Drifloon also has an innate dislike for the heavier ones. It's also referenced in Heart Gold and Soul Silver that any child who mistakes a Drifloon for a balloon could end up missing. And while some Pokedex entries are just funny little descriptions leading us to develop our own lore surrounding them, this one was actually elaborated on in Pokemon Arceus, where one side quest tasks the player with helping out a child who's being held hostage by a Drifloon. So if you ask me, that's probably 2 we gotta keep behind bars now. Giovanni jumped theory. In Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, the player is able to take the special event Celebi down to Ilex Forest and duke it out with the one and only mob boss, Giovanni, at the top of Tojo Falls. And after just beating the brakes off Giovanni, he quickly sprints out of the cave, but instead of your classic, you hear a much different... Later, after the splash, Team Rocket members can be heard over the radio discussing the whereabouts of their beloved boss. When prompted, Ethan or Lyra will then answer saying the team keeps calling their boss, expressing how they feel bad that the team doesn't know that he's not going to be returning to them. And while obviously we don't have the footage of Giovanni just hucking himself off the falls, the game does a pretty good job of pointing us in the direction of what might have happened. It's theorized that Giovanni was so distraught by his loss at the hands of a mere child that he could not internalize what happened, and instead he just decided he would end it all. Yveltal's Doomsday. Yveltal is a dark and flying type legendary that was introduced in Pokemon X and Y as 1/3 of the Aura trio. But while this Pokemon is visually appealing on the outside, on the inside there's a little bit...
Next ring's farm. Pull up your socks. We gotta hike. I have returned. We will give our enemies an education. In pain.
How did I not die?
First blood. Let us begin.
Why we land here again? Wow.
Current angle sucks. Switching it up.
is somehow even more beautiful than before.
1 minute and the ring's a stone's throw. Even if you throw like a baby.
Tracker set and ready to gather intel.
Look, there's a mark over there. Ring's nearby and it closes in 45. Why wait? Let's go. Target spotted far off. Target landed near me. Bold move. And a signal.
New
Target
kill
landed
leader?
near me.
Huh.
Bold move. And fatal. Taking fire. Eliminate the enemy. That's another squad shooting at us. Hope they suck at it. Pin down. That's on me. A dare to give us an edge.
Getting shot at.
Got another shot.
Recharging my shield. Cover me.
Enemy taking fire.
Tracker out.
Reloading. I almost died. Then I just...
Getting shot at. Tracking an enemy. I'm recharging my shields.
Someone gave that prey level 2 shield. Mark right there. Mark is far with level 2 shield. Getting it right here.
Reloading. They're shooting at me.
Kill leader. Take Taro makes them easier to spot.
No.
Told you not to try that. Right there. I goes hit the sweet angle. Moving.
Enemy there.
All right. Love a fresh start. For taking me out, they will pay with blood. Time to Third party arrived. I'm gonna regret this.
Recharging shield. Taking fire. Enemy shield cracked. Cut down an enemy. Right there.
Setting a tracker. Un momento, per favore. Recharging. Gonna regret this. Just me now. Stay my course.
Got another shot. Go there. Moving that way.
Hey, thanks for sticking with me. Seriously.
I'm back. I'm good at surviving. Eliminate the enemy. Another squad is on us. I'm down.
Whatever.
Shatter the prey shield. Reloading.
Come on. Good news. We're already. Oh, you're all right. Tieni duro. Got this.
Shields are depleted.
Tracker set and ready to gather intel. Tracker scanning.
Marcus far with level 2 shield. Part of a full squad. Need a new angle on this. Shields are depleted.
There's a marker there in the distance.
Some prey there. Look, prey there with level 2 shield. Enemy shield cracked.
No, de pushame.
Enemy there.
Fuck, I gotta pee.
Some prey there. Let's hunt over there.
Hey, thanks for sticking with me. Seriously.
Taking fire. let them best you again.
I'm recharging my shields. Setting a trap. Bullseye. Enemy
Well positioned here. Squad, adjust your strategy. Reloading.
somehow even
Reloading. Took down some prey. Tearing away. 1 minute. We have found much.
just me now.
Prey there.
No shit.
Told you not to try that enemy there. With me. Recharging my shields. Prey here. This way. Let's go. Prey here. 30 seconds left and the ring's close. Reloading. Prey spotted here.
Let's go there.
Thanks for sticking with me. Davvero. Hey, raga. Let's go there. Ten seconds until the ring closes. It's close though. We should see what's up over here.
Moving to Echo for a better angle. Prey spotted here. Hope they suck at it. Caught. Psycho rat. Reloading. Enemy in the distance.
Reloading.
Target spotted. Boss. Tag some prey. Enemy close. Status prey shield.
This way.
Second squad. Adjust your strategy.
Go get him, Stinger.
Shields are depleted. Recharging. Recharging shield. Two squads stand between us and I am the last one. I will not allow myself to fall. Fire. Enemy shield cracked. I cracked the target shield. I am the last one remaining. I will not allow it.
30 seconds.
Bit more
Essentially.
going on than we could imagine. In the Y Pokedex, Yveltal's entry reads, when its life comes to an end, it absorbs the life energy of every living thing and turns into a cocoon once more. So just in case you weren't already worried sick about the Hypno trying to bust your door down and get into your child's room, now you've got the impending doom of this bird flying in front of a car on the highway and causing the cataclysm of the entire Earth just hanging over.
Thanks for sticking with me.
That's crazy.
Davvero.
But it's true. Dame Craver.
Another shot. I won't waste it. Also there.
Thought I'd come back. Help out, fight strangers. Whatever.
Echo and I are pretty in sight. Adjust your scope. They're far. Never mind.
Only one squad left.
Look,
Let's
there's
take
one
it.
over there.
Neil, thanks for doing together.
Taking fire. Prey tag. Take him down. Opening fire on our prey.
Recharging my...
I'm under fire. Recharging shield.
Reloading.
No way, bro. I moved inside, bro. That's bullshit, bro. That's fucking bullshit, bro. I'm gonna go pee.
X and Y is about life and death. Diving into this theory and piggybacking a bit off the last one, it's clear that all the Pokemon games try and follow a few common themes in each series, and that's no different with X and Y being based on DNA. But outside of DNA, the underlying theme of X and Y is life and death, with our ticking time bomb Crow being labeled as the destructive Pokemon, Xerneas being listed as the life Pokemon, leaving Zygarde to represent the Order, balancing these two powers and not allowing one or the other to completely take over. While Yveltal could consume the entire universe, it's also equally dangerous for Xerneas to overpopulate the world. Mega evolution is painful. It seems like throughout all these entries, we always somehow find our way back to the Pokedex. However, of all the entries that we've observed, none carry as much weight as some of these do, except like maybe the Hypno one, maybe the Drifloon one too. Okay, never mind. With the release of Pokemon Sun and Moon, players had begun catching on to some rather disturbing entries in relation to Mega Evolution. I mean, for example, by asking your Scizor to evolve, you've essentially sealed its fate in the worst way possible. Its Pokedex entry reads, "This Pokemon stores the excess energy from Mega Evolution, so after a long time passes, its body begins to melt." In my opinion, some of the Mega Evolution
crazy.
forms of Pokemon are the best character models in the game, but it's hard to not feel slightly bad when you're finding out that you're actually forcing Tyranitar to split its back open. The Darkrai murder. In Pokemon Black and White, when traveling on the Marvelous Bridge, you can sometimes see the sprite of a young girl on the side of the bridge, and upon getting closer, she'll vanish, leaving the NPC beside her in shambles. And while this is weird, if you dig around the area and stumble upon this old woman sitting near the doorway, she will state that there was once a girl who always played with an Abra around here, before saying she was so full of energy. It was thought that something tragic had happened regarding this girl and her Abra, potentially having a teleportation accident take place, you know, seeing as they're playing on the side of a giant suspension bridge. But Pokemon Black and White 2 later expands on this story, unveiling a little bit more into the Ghost Girl. This ghost can be found in this strange house where she can be seen talking about an everlasting dark dream, searching for her mum, dad, and Abra. But eventually, upon entering in the right room in the strange house, the ghost will hand over a Lunar Wing, which was sort of like handing you the missing piece to solving this puzzle for yourself. The story told without being told is that the girl was murdered by Darkrai. Darkrai is mentioned within a book in the same house the Ghost Girl is in, and is said to have been driving people away with horrible nightmares. While on the other hand, it's said that Cresselia is to drive nightmares away with her crescent moon lit wings, leaving us to fill in the blanks that after getting trapped in a never-ending nightmare, the girl couldn't find Cresselia in time to escape, and in turn, well, died. Coughing in the wrong places. Coughing is well known as a friendly and funny little fella. The poisonous gas Pokemon introduced in Gen 1 has always been well received. So really, how bad could Coughing's entry be? Well, it's certainly not great. Naturally, people had been upset when a screenshot was released depicting Coughing hanging out in the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. This image sort of
That
blew
is
up
fucking
for
crazy.
obvious reasons. Although the legitimacy of this image in front of us has been debated and could very well just be some Twitter prankster with a horrible taste in humor, as per
That's
usual.
fucking
But according
funny.
to an article from the Washington Post, the museum had been marked as a Pokestop alongside other landmarks. The communications director of the museum had stated that playing the game while in the museum is not appropriate whatsoever. Altogether, just a sloppy situation, and we'll be moving on. The lost lives of Pokemon Go. The 2016 Pokemon Go craze is a time I genuinely don't think I'll ever forget. The impact this had on major cities was absolutely insane. And as someone who lives in a very rural small town, it was crazy to see even people of all ages gathered here to get down to business. Pokemon Go became so popular during its release that it had actually overtaken Twitter for monthly active users, peaking at over 250 million. But while that time was just wonderful for me and full of fond memories, it probably wasn't for the few who had been distracted out on the streets staring at their phones.
Died.
In a
Yeah.
research paper titled Death by Pokemon Go, the economic and human cost of using apps while driving, estimated that the app caused over 150,000 car accidents and over 250 deaths. Also estimating that this game would cost the world around $2 billion in damages. And while these numbers are thought to just be wildly inaccurate, it still gives a glimpse into the potential of what this game had actually cost humanity. The chance of mourning. In early 2020, source code from both Pokemon Pearl and Diamond were leaked online. And unlike the Space World demo, this dump was full of some I don't know, much weirder code. Hidden within the codebase were certain dates regarding various tragedies that have impacted the world. And to showcase what horrible events these were, Pokemon decided that they would decrease spawn rates by 10% on those days. I have no idea what the actual aim was behind this. It's been theorized the decrease in spawn rate was to discourage players from playing the game on days of mourning, but a 10% decrease honestly wouldn't have even made a dent in the overall spawn. If anyone knows anything more about this, please comment and tell me. The Burger King recall. If you're one of the now grown children like myself who used to collect every Pokemon item that ever surfaced at Burger King, then you should consider yourself lucky to even be alive today. With the launch of Pokemon the first movie, and as part of a $22 million promotion strategy for this movie, Burger King began including small Pokeball capsules with Pokemon toys inside each of their kids' meals. The promotion was a massive success, and within 10 days of the initial launch, Burger King had to release multiple apologies for the shortage of toys. And while everyone seemed happy, about a month into the promotion is when things started to take a turn for the worst, as a child had been found dead with pieces of the ball covering their nose and mouth. Although Burger King had argued that the promo toy had passed rigorous safety tests, the Consumer Product Safety Commission had urged Burger King to put a recall in place to stop this before it became a serious problem. However, Burger King pushed back and decided to await an autopsy to confirm that the ball was the cause of the death before issuing a recall. They didn't want to spend time and money scaring their consumers if, for whatever reason, this wasn't actually caused by the toy. I mean, come on, we all know how kind and caring these big corporations are. They care about your health. But
Yes.
as weeks had gone by from the initial incident, it was no longer just one victim, as a father had found his infant child with the Pokeball clamped around the child's nose and mouth, but this time was able to
Oh my
remove it
God.
in time
I
before
didn't
the
fucking leave
situation
it over
had
there.
escalated.
My God,
But this
George.
was ultimately the straw that broke the camel's back, and Burger King had finally put a strategy into place to begin the recall. But before they could, this story leaked to the press and it exploded.
Burger King is recalling millions of Pokemon balls after a baby playing with one dies. Elizabeth Bermudez shows us what makes the toys dangerous.
This was not only a massive dent in the reputation of Burger King, but also a very dark area in the Pokemon franchise. But hey, no need to worry about all those silly little deaths. If you return your Pokeball to the nearest Burger King, you can get a free small fries. And with that, folks, I'd like to say thank you.
Small fries. That is bullshit. Man, this man got his hair done all the time.
I just saw a very interesting video from Scott Schaefer breaking down an emerging scam that's apparently popping off and very successful that seems to dust off an old method that was popularized on Reddit a long time ago. In the early days of Reddit, where updoots were the most sought after currency since Bitcoin, the citizens of Reddit, the Narwhal Baconers at Midnight, came up with a strategy to farm these coveted updoots that everyone was chasing like the Fountain of Youth. In a nutshell, the strategy was take an image or a video from some unrelated person, usually like an older person or someone in a hospital, and then drum up a sob story like, this is, you know, old Peepaw Cletus. I loved him for so long. Yesterday he passed away, but his final wish was that this photo of him giving me a thumbs up reaches 50k karma and breaks the r/gaming super record. Can we make his last wish happen, guys? And then naturally people are like, oh, I'll support that, and then they all did. Well, now that exact same strategy is being used to sell drop-shipped items from Temu on TikTok, and it is blowing up.
I became aware of this scam not from TikTok, but a YouTube channel called Force Orbs. This channel is originally a TikTok account with the same name that moved all their videos to YouTube Shorts to try and scam more people. The page is all about promoting their custom Star Wars art, all made by one old man.
People said that you would destroy this Sith, not join them! Bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness!
Execute Order 66.
I'm not gonna lie, it's actually kind of nostalgic to see this scam again. I thought for sure this was a menace long since forgotten. I really cannot even picture the person that would see this video and think for 1 second that this is real. Like, I don't know who sees this and is like, oh man, this is heartbreaking. He's right. That video of that girl shooting a baseball at a car's window got so many views, but his Star Wars art is getting ridiculed? What kind of What's happened to us? This is not right. I'm gonna buy 10 Force Orbs to support him and let him know how happy I am with this purchase. Of course, the reality is the old guy in the video here has no fucking clue what Force Orbs are. He is not involved with this at all. It's just some random douchebags that are drop shipping it, using this as their marketing tool here. He's become their mascot, the Toucan Sam to their cereal that they're peddling.
All of their videos are pretty much the same. It's a sad old man who makes custom Star Wars glass orb art, and he's upset because any clip on
Round 1. Beginning ring countdown. Attention. First blood.
Who got first blood? I was sure it would be me.
Peacekeeper here. Common. Let's go over there.
Oh, kick! Kick con los bots!
Hey, Raga, let's go there.
Okay. Perfect.
Let's check out that way.
No. Okay.
Gravity launcher right here. Target landed. Let's go. Watch yourself. There's another squad attacking.
Reloading.
Recharging my shields. Target landed near me. Wrong choice.
Am I on high dose drugs? I'm tripping.
Setting a tracker. Tracker out.
Open it. Enemy shield broken. Reloading.
Oxygen out. Third party arrived. They're gonna regret this. Enemy tracked. Bullseye. Enemy tracked. I'm recharging my shields.
Throwing Arc Star. They spotted me. Need to recharge my shields.
Recharge.
Throwing Arc Star.
No.
Enemy down.
Maybe in another time or space.
Thanks for sticking with me.
I fucking.
Getting shot at. Strike out.
social media with a cute girl gets millions of views, but his videos trying to sell his art, no one watches. In many of the clips, he talks about that he's running out of money, and people in the comments taunt him, saying,
I've made my choice, and I'm not done. Setting a portal. I think down.
Reloading.
Damn.
things like, grow up, old man. No one loves Star Wars anymore. Besides, nobody is buying your stupid Star Wars art.
Another classic. You rage bait and tug on the heartstrings here. Oh, look at what these people are saying about my Star Wars orbs. They say it's stinky and they don't want it. They say it's not art. They put art in quotations. They say nobody loves Star Wars anymore. Can we prove it wrong? Can you guys all buy my fucking art, please? Also, it's just such a dog shit comparison in the first place, by the way. It's unjust that this video has millions of views, but mine doesn't. Doesn't that just make you mad? Isn't that just the most upsetting thing ever? A real tearjerker. Now get your wallet out, please buy some of these Force Orbs I found on Temu.
But what this item actually is, really is just a customizable LED glass orb that you can find on sites like Temu for $16. Any photo you want can be uploaded into these, but the scammers are trying to sell these with preloaded Star Wars images and calling them Force Orbs. The real crime is on their website, where they are selling these for a whopping $60 a pop.
$60 is pennies to make this old man's dreams come true. Can we get his videos to 66 million views here so it matches that girl shooting a ball at a fucking car windshield? He deserves it, clearly. Come on, guys, what are we doing? If we each give him $1, we can afford one fucking Force Orb maybe at this absurd price. This is always probably my favorite part about these kind of scams. Like, it's not even so much like the goofiness of the videos they post and how fucking trash they are, but it's their preposterous level of greed where they'll mark up a Temu product like 2,000% and think anyone would be willing to buy that. Unfortunately, it seems like there are some gullible suckers that do because they want to, support this story that they've bought into hook, line, and sinker. But, like, it should be just so obvious that this is fishy. I cannot picture the person.
How does he know I'm here?
Is like, oh, I'm getting my credit card out. $60 for a Force Orb, it's a little steep, but it's made with love and care. I could tell because the TikTok video said so.
In the clips, it shows alleged production of the globes, but if you slow down the production videos, it seems to me that this might be AI footage, because the people in the video have weird body issues. Like this guy who has this weird crease in the middle of his forehead, and the arms in the next image look AI generated as well.
No, what? AI generated videos? As if. No such thing, not on TikTok. They wouldn't be using AI to show the production, that's all legitimate. The worker there with the wacky forehead, well, that's old Quirky Brows Joe. I mean, everyone knows that guy's got like that weird shit in there like an accordion. It's part of his identity. He's a zany character around the office that works with our favorite old guy at Force Orbs. Come on, don't be ridiculous. AI footage. My left shoe.
One thing that isn't AI, though, is the sad old man who shows up in every video who claims to be making all these orbs. With a reverse image search, I was able to find where this footage originally comes from, and it's from a TikTok account called TedDog13. TedDog has nothing to do with the Force Orb scam, and he seems to be a nice old man who created his TikTok account to help him make new friends online.
This is TedDog13.
What the fuck? That shit made me
I
fucking
wanna
glow.
Thank you all for allowing me to make these videos.
He seems like a sweetheart. And like I said, this isn't anything new. This has been a scam that's existed for a while, but it kind of petered out and wasn't really popular for a while. But now, thanks to TikTok being such a strong marketing vessel, and people so willing to just buy into a sad story and like rally behind what they think is a good cause for these products on TikTok, people are now spinning that goodwill to exploit it. So now they're just drop shipping trash with fake stories around it, taking other people's videos, and then even using AI videos to try and, spruce it up a little bit to get people to buy into it. it is doing well. Force Orbs, I think, is the most comical example, but Scott Schaefer goes through a few more. It is a rampant issue across TikTok and YouTube Shorts.
Another TikTok and YouTube scam channel known as Fuzzy Paw Slides is doing the same thing to push their scam products, but this time they've added another twist to the tale.
This is my last-ditch effort. Please stay to the end of this video, as it would help me tremendously. So my grandpa decided to take a leap of faith and start his own cat shelter. Currently, he's struggling to make ends meet and keep it open, so he decided to start making handmade cat slipper. He is the most kindest and talented person I know, but he has not received an order in 6 months. Please comment to boost this post and help support him.
Oh. Make handmade hand slip, make handmade. You ever had a dream that you ever wanted the handmade cat slipper? Wow, that's so sweet. He opened his own cat sanctuary, but hasn't had an order for 6 months for his handmade cat slipper. Come on, guys, can you boost this post so we can all buy his handmade cat slipper? Wow, that's such a good story. What a story, Mark.
Sure enough, you can find slippers just like this on Alibaba, going anywhere from $1 to $3 for a pair, but the website for the scam is selling them marked down from $50 for the low price of only $30.
Fuck! I'm losing money not buying the handmade cat slipper. Only $30 for handmade cat slipper to keep this old man's sanctuary running? Oh my god, the blood of those cats is gonna...
Why are we here? Murder's over there. Vamos al murder.
Attention, there is a new kill leader.
I hate you.
There's a new kill leader. Or not. An opponent drop near me. This is gonna be good.
Don't shoot me!
I mean, it'd be nice if you just told me there's 2 of those motherfuckers.
They're both low.
You cheating? Is this guy fucking cheating? Oh, fucking console faggot. Oh, console, just infinite anuses. Fucking faggot.
I'm recharging my shield. Enemy cracked. Opponent found and cracked. Reload.
Say you love me. Don't kill me. He's trying to kill me. Help me. Ah. Oh. Hell yeah. Come back.
Sorry, Scrappy.
He's right in front of you.
Thanks for sticking with me.
My boy.
Recharging my shields. Setting a tracker. Opponent right here.
No!
Looks like aiming isn't your
Man, I want watermelon, but I don't have no more watermelon.
All right. Love a fresh start.
Gonna be on my hands if I don't support him. No.
So few hours ago, Halsey.
Hello, fellas. Push me, host. I hate you. Right behind you. I don't want to wait 30 seconds. Shut up.
There are lots of things are going on behind the scene, and after the New Orleans land, Zero decided to leave the team, but he couldn't because the Zynews team told him they don't wanted to play with him. Also, the things we have seen on the stream are just a tip of the iceberg, like head of the penis in simple terms. So let's start the video with Hal.
I don't think I'm going to be like old Hal, honestly, IGL, but we'll see. We will see. Like I think I'll still be good, but I don't think I'm gonna be like crashing out hard or anything. It was like hard for me to admit to my ego, but like playing with Zero, like maybe understand. I don't know.
I'll die to the circle.
How to like communicate better, I guess, with my teammates, and not just like insta crash out, you know, type of thing. I'm sure I'll definitely have my moments still of like crashing out or whatever, but I don't know. I feel like I'm a lot more calm, like than I used to be after not IGLing for a bit. I don't regret anything, teaming with Zero or anything like that. Like it was a good experience. I'm sure it was the same thing with Zero. Like we tried something out, and honestly, we played a lot longer than it felt like. Like we played for like what, a year and a half or something like that. Almost a year and a half. Learned a lot. I'm sure he learned a lot, and I don't know. It's not like we did terrible or anything. Obviously, we did worse than like everyone expected, but we won 2 pro leagues, won a LAN, got 3rd in a LAN, had our worst performing LAN ever together. So for just in our careers. So I guess for me actually, not him. We already have our 3rd. We already have a 3rd. Just you know, figuring out contracts and stuff like that. Zero's not quitting. He will be having a brand new team. I can't give you a hint because it'll be obvious. Like any hint I give you. Nobody's leaving except Zero. Nobody else is leaving except Zero. Kyle's still coaching. Wolfie's still on the team, and we're getting a new 3rd. I don't know yet what Privacy is doing. He seems to be undecided. But other than that, I might as well like speak a little bit about it, but like basically like to sum it up, for the most part, Zero's been kind of wanting to leave the team for a long time, from what I understand, like ever since like New Orleans, and he's been wanting to play with Koi and Zyno, but he was rejected by them. They didn't want to play with him, and Falcons obviously wasn't going to let him go for free. So since he didn't have a team that he wanted to actually play with, he kind of had no choice but to keep playing with us and be miserable. We had a conversation as a team after the last Pro League day, like, hey, let's air shit out and let's, you know, figure this out.
The team all the way in the back, there's no room in there. You gotta play outside.
I thought I'd come back, help out.
I'm sure all the teams are like fully committed inside.
This time will be different.
You over here?
Let's move that way.
I don't know.
Forza, 2 other squads left.
Fuck yeah. It would be a fucking.
Somehow even more beautiful than before.
You know, we have a lot of time, blah, 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 blah. Let's do this together, etc. And he didn't really want to. So, yeah. And I definitely won't be cool with Zero. I personally, like, I'm only playing with him because of the sake of the team and, like, Falcons. But, like, he can, I don't know, go kick rocks for all I care. And it's not like, I'm not saying that because of the sake of, like, a rivalry or anything like that. It's just, like, a lot of shit happens behind the scenes that, like, you know, that just doesn't be said, like, isn't said. And, like, what I, like, said just now is just literally, like, the tip of the iceberg. Like, that doesn't mean that you need to go, like, say bad shit to him or anything like that. Probably know to talk about it on stream. I'm not talking about anything on stream. What I wanted, listen, bro. If it was up to me, I would say everything. Maybe he'll do a Verhulst. You know, who knows? He'll probably pull a Verhulst. We'll see. Probably pull a Verhulst. I would never play with Evan again competitively. Like, I don't mind playing ranked with him or anything like that. I don't give a fuck to play with him like in a tournament ever again.
Let me know your thoughts on this video in the comment section, and if you are new here, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more interesting video. Hasta la vista, baby.
I wonder who they're gonna get as a third.
I'm able to combine punches.
I think he got stomped. Oh, big up.
Yeah. Usually, you getting 2 punches, everyone blocks 2 punches.
Feet up. Oh, heavy.
And then is when I go again, like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boom. Shots.
Stop! Former wrestler Ilia Topuria has turned into a serial knockout killer in record time.
The legs.
Under the flamboyant nickname El Matador, he has dismantled the featherweight elite in style. And vows to conquer a new weight division next. Today we witness the bullfighting spectacle from the UFC's premier headhunter.
Right now for Topuria. Oh, massive knockdown for Topuria. And still, he does it again.
Although an ethnic Georgian, Ilia was born in Germany. At the age of 7, he returned to his ancestral homeland, where he trained in Greco-Roman wrestling. And moved to Spain at 15. Searching for a wrestling mat in a new country, he and his older brother ended up at a gym led by the Clement brothers, who were teaching jiu-jitsu as well as MMA. Drawn to the creative freedom of mixed martial arts, 18-year-old Ilia launched his pro career with an explosive blast double. From side control, the young El Matador worked his way to the back, flattened his opponent out, and forced the tap at the 60-second mark. Still quite raw in the striking department, Topuria understandably leaned into his wrestling. And once the ground game ensued, he didn't hesitate to show off his acquired submission skills. In a bout against another prospect for a vacant regional title, the Georgian Matador perfectly timed a level change. But having failed to lock in a choke or an armbar, he nearly left his head on the scaffold. So, returning to the feet, Ilia trusted his fists for the first time. But had to spend the rest of the round on his back. After the break, Topuria grounded his foe again. imposed a grueling grappling pace, and cinched up a high elbow guillotine. With a string of wins in Spain, Ilya outgrew the local circuit, but to breach into the international scene, he had to solve his citizenship issues, which lasted the next year and a half. Luckily, all matters got resolved by April 2018, and at a 135-pound tournament in Finland, Topuria displayed much sharper punching mechanics.
Siinä on ruutia pojilla. Oi. Tavallaan se hyvän aseman on pitänyt. Oi. Niskan puolella. Oho.
Already resembling the modern version of himself.
Käsi, minkä veti nyt tonne Mikan niskan puolelle. Oi.
Ei ole mikään heittopussi. His 8-1 adversary sought to explore his ground options.
Sitä, että...
The Matador reversed the attempt.
Topuria pikkasen populisittu alasvienne ja Mika jäi nyt
flaunting new ink in the process. And once they returned to the feet, calmly started chaining strikes together.
Kyllä Topuria...
Oi, herra jestas.
Siinä osui polve.
En tiedä, oliko se vaan minä, mutta alkaako Mika vähän hyytymään?
Mä luulen, että se hyytyy. Näköjään.
The last-ditch shot was easily stuffed by Topuria, who smoothly transitioned to a mounted guillotine.
Meneekö läpi?
Tätä on paljon puhuttu, että kentällä on sellainen kaveri, että sieltä se vaan
löytyi.
A couple of months later, the 21-year-old prospect received a rare opportunity to challenge for the vacant title in his debut for the prestigious European promotion Cage Warriors. Ilya failed to capitalize, missing the scale by 4 pounds. Still, he fully lived up to the hype inside the cage.
Topuria in the grave.
Immediately in on tossing around the helpless Brian Bouland.
Fighting out of Spain currently. Big pickup and a big...
Topuria wouldn't let him escape.
Fell.
Had him in front of him and didn't kill him.
Love a fresh start.
Thought I'd come back. You look like you could use the help. Cracked an enemy shield.
For taking me out, they...
Oh, beautiful stuff here from Bula.
Thanks for sticking with me.
Broke their shield now. Shoot him. We've got another squad. I'm up. Just giving my shields a recharge.
There's no way, bro.
Doesn't quite get out though.
Oh, and he's to the back early.
And after wrapping him up with an anaconda choke from the back,
Guillotine set up for it. Well, sorry, done.
I need shields.
Thanks for sticking with me.
set up from here.
In the whirlwind of events, he forced Brian to count sheep before bedtime.
He's out. He's out.
It's over!
Wow.
Last one standing. Gotta watch my own back now. Go, we lost one. It's just you and me now.
Let me at him. Hell yeah!
Reloading.
Ambush! There's another squad! Heads up. Dropping the pain. Give me a sec. Recharging shield.
Crack is set.
No. Only the secondary weapon.
The promotion didn't appreciate the clockwise execution.
Want some? Oh my goodness!
So El Matador directed his talents to the Middle Eastern promotion Brave, joining their 145-pound featherweight roster. The aging Luis Gomez had no answer for the pressure of the new generation frontman.
Hanging jab. Oh, and he's catching him early. But Gomez throwing back. Just as we predicted.
Topuria nonchalantly secured mount and cranked up the meat grinder.
Not leave his arms hanging out like this. Just landing those crushing elbows to flatten out Gomez.
Phil, our referee. Out of mercy, he chose to go for a mounted triangle, prompting the veteran to calculate the diminishing area of the geometric figure.
And it's over!
No. I haven't been doing anything on
On
that
a
one.
streak of 7 finishes, all by submission, Ilya was seen exclusively as a suffocating grappler with a searing ground game. Thus, the rangy Steven Gonsalves pressed the action.
The movement of Stevie Gonzalez.
Nice head kick by Gonzalez.
But still lost his balance.
Takedown is there.
Tapuria's go-to choke didn't quite fit the bill.
On for the ninja choke.
Looks to tight. running with it.
What are you made of?
Gonzalez may be going out. Taporia lets it go.
Pushing him to recall his boxing lessons.
Looking to draw some more blood.
He needs to get his back off that cage.
Oh, he gets caught!
Tapuria's level change feints made Gonsalves lower his hands, priming him up for a massive overhand right.
Get his back off that cage.
Oh, he gets caught!
The one that's going to drop people's jaws. The UFC acknowledged the 23-year-old wrestler with pop in his shot and signed him on just a week's notice. Facing Yusuf Zalal, who was 3-0 in the promotion, Topuria showcased noticeable progress with his hands.
In front of it, am I going to run right into something like that?
Danger, because Toporia's won his record yet in the UFC because he's been close a couple of times.
Well-timed slips.
Very calm, collected. You wouldn't know it was...
And constant feinting helped Ilya set up his offense.
Backed up against the fence. Oh! A big left hook. There's the knee. Trying to line him up for it.
Oh, loving 1-2.
The Greco-Roman base also came in handy. After a 5-point throw via belly-to-belly suplex, the Matador improved his position for a seated kata gatame.
That was interesting, right? That he kind of gave up the back jump. He's still in this position. Now snatches that arm.
Then transitioned to an anaconda.
Doing a great job of staying in there. Now he's going to switch it. Now he's the anaconda. He's switching it.
But Zalal gritted it out.
The look on his face, he's hurting, but nice job from Yusuf. Great job. So far. This is just such an aggressive submission attack.
By round 3, the lack of full camp took its toll on the gas tank.
You see Topuria showing big signs of
stung him with the jab.
But the debutante still cruised to a unanimous decision win.
But it offered a level change in favor of Zalal.
Oh, there's that flying switch knee, but it was caught by Topuria. And there it is. Ilya!
I always knew I would fight in the UFC, and I always told people, my goal is not just to be there, I'm going to be the best, be the champion. A couple of months later, in a clash with former collegiate wrestler Damon Jackson, Topuria came out with a piston jab.
Early. Right to the body. Topuria loves to go after that body.
Followed by multi-level combinations.
Ooh, that was a big difference. You saw that Topuria was able to counter on the angle. Very clean striking from Topuria early.
Come upstairs with those big hooks. And
Jackson tested the Matador's chin.
Great point, dominant change.
Nah.
To the ground.
And ducked into a counter uppercut.
He didn't finish the punch.
Sneaking in a nasty liver shot.
Jackson's nose now. The big difference.
Ilya started ripping left hooks to high and low.
Try to do these interviews on his own without a translator.
Right. Well, you got to know Topuria on Fight Island.
Overwhelming the opponent's defense.
Just unloading on Damon Jackson right now with all combinations. Those body shots have now officially set up the headshot and it's all over.
The systematic body bombing.
Rear uppercut rips to the body. What happened?
And the surgical finishing sequence.
And this is the finisher. Bam!
Right.
Confirmed Topuria's rapid development in the stand-up.
Stop!
I never think about points. For me, true victory is by stoppage. No 29-28. One shot, and it's sleepy time. Seasoned foot fetishist Ryan Hall promised to ground the ascending star.
Way off in advance of this one, but still keeping a more active schedule than normal.
The Ultimate Fighter winner. And a crafty submission ace known as the Wizard. He had a habit of dragging enemies into his web and collecting limbs in numbers. And nothing seemed to faze him, not even his own victories. With no sign of care, Hall tested the Matador's reactions.
The betting favorite. That's how good.
And dove for the hill in a signature roll.
But they didn't do this kind of stuff like this. This is it. Oh, he's tagging him. Topuria's tagging him. Oh, he let go though. Lost position.
Desperately trying to drag Ilya into a jiu-jitsu swamp.
Grab him, right? He's got the arm. He's got the arm.
Staying composed, Topuria untied every knot.
Looks like he's almost like playing. Right. You know, I mean,
when he throws the
patiently waiting for his opening.
When he punches.
Oh, he hurt him. He hurt him there.
Hurt Ryan Hall, maybe not.
Yeah, you got to be careful. What if he's
The timing is so odd. Like, look at this. Like, he just falls down. Oh,
there
nice,
it is.
Nice hammer shot.
Oh, big
he
right
hurt.
shot from
Ryan,
Topuria.
he might be out. He's out. He's out.
Timing one of his spins, Ilya didn't let Hall back up,
Can't roll. Now he's stuck in his boom punch.
drowning him in a waterfall of strikes.
Oh, big
He
right
hurt.
shot from
Ryan,
Topuria.
he might be out. He's out. He's out.
I always stay super patient because I know the end is coming. I don't chase the finish. My goal is to weaken the opponent mentally. Once he starts hesitating, it only gets worse from there. What's next? The knockout. In March 2022, Topuria moved up to 155 for the first time to duke it out with former Cage Warriors champ Jay Herbert.
Look at that nice short elbow. Oh, he's out. Stringing together the punches, throws in a kick. Continues going. Look at this. Where are these elbows? Drops him.
He's ready to go. Giving up 8 inches of reach, Ilya immediately felt the size difference.
That's those rangy kind of guys. But I do like that Jai also threw that game advantage, and he has the speed advantage. He's got to be careful.
El Matador went bust in the striking gamble,
Fire shin on shin, drops Topuria.
but proved to be as tough as a Lego piece.
How tough is Topuria? And he is hunting for that takedown hard. Yeah. Can't shoot on him, can't get a hold of the legs.
By mixing in feints and slips, Ilya crossed the void to unload a body head combo.
Blow. Jai Herbert was out cold before he hit the canvas.
One of the most electrifying comebacks of 2022, and his first performance of the night bonus.
Holding the legs.
Awful. It felt terrible. Getting kicked in the face never feels good. But I was fully conscious throughout the entire sequence and reacted extremely quickly. I've seen other fighters take the same kick and go out. To address defensive issues, Topuria put in serious work at the gym. Luckily, he didn't have to go far. The fighter fully converted his 4-story house into a training facility. During the camp for his next bout, Ilya didn't cut any corners either. El Matador 2.0 brought in countless sparring partners, though their numbers quickly began to dwindle. Topuria approaches recovery just as meticulously. He recharges in a hyperbaric chamber, cryosauna, uses infrared therapy, and even incorporates a specialized brain stimulation device. On top of that, he works with a physiotherapist who, according to Ilya himself, helped him double his reaction speed and widen his visual field, preventing him from eating shots from the flanks. Sticking to his diet, Ilya dropped back to featherweight and faced number 9 ranked contender Bryce Mitchell. The UFC's most prominent flat earther, who has red-pilled many globeheads, went 6-0 in the promotion and posed a genuine threat on the two-dimensional mat with a rich submission resume.
He's going hard for it. Step.
Mitchell first gained traction by pulling off the second twister in UFC history.
Oh my God, he's got that! That's tight!
Before triggering an avalanche of hate with controversial history takes.
Because I honestly think that Hitler was a good guy based upon my own research.
Topuria flowed in the cage like a pure boxer.
What I love so much about this fight is generally, wow.
From a low stance, he caused big reactions with feints, easily stuffed takedowns.
As well.
Nice
Good
sprawl
stuff
there, yep.
Topuria's coming very close with those haymakers, right for the high kick. Topuria stuffed that takedown.
And weaved his way to the inside to jab.
Topuria's striking is so clean. So
then Sting with a heavy cross down the pipe.
By Mitchell a moment ago.
Oh, stance. Because he expects a takedown.
Oh, beautiful. Topuria stalking him. Oh, right hand. And another.
The low base also allowed him to work the body.
Game plan, that's a mistake.
Beautiful.
And use slick trunk movement to close distance.
Mitchell has to just stand with Ilya.
In round 2, Bryce caught a second wind.
Big right hand, winding up. He's got a short move.
But but kept falling into the traps Ilya was setting on the fly.
Thomas, we check in with the coach, Dean Thomas, have to get moving forward and not.
He looks tired though, mouth wide open.
I think he got stung. Oh, big upper.
And knocks Mitchell down.
After feeding the Austrian painter enjoyer a crisp three-piece,
Right hand. Stunned him with the right hand.
Topuria smeared him across the canvas
Physicality.
and forced the capitulation with an arm triangle.
Oh, my goodness. Look at this.
Oh, that's tight.
Still undefeated. Ilya Topuria.
Outclassing a top 10 ranked guy in every department, Ilya broke into the title picture.
My goodness.
Ilya Topuria is the real deal.
In the summer of 2023, he headlined the UFC card alongside Josh Emmett, the Mr. One Punch Man of the MMA world.
Though at least statistically has been the more efficient striker. Down and out goes Lamas.
Emmett, man, right hand misses, boom, left hip up.
Had rightfully been labeled the scariest puncher at featherweight.
So far, yeah. That's it.
Ilya spent the last weeks of camp at Henry Hooft's gym. He sparred with Kamaru Usman. And received an ugly cut under his eye. Nevertheless, using the shoulder roll, so rarely utilized in MMA,
Very careful dipping his head though. Topuria has a nasty uppercut.
It's a big right hand for Topuria.
and his signature head movement,
Side thus far.
Topuria kept his chin out of reach,
Swelling under that left eye of Josh Emmett. He's been slipping a few times tonight.
which allowed him to spear Emmett with right hands
Everything real tight. Lands a beautiful right hand, hurts Emmett again.
and maintain positive trade balance with an intimidating powerhouse.
Off as you try to circle. Slight step to the left. As Emmett tries to go right, slight step to the left.
Left hook.
Coach did not want Emmett to allow Topuria.
Complementing his boxing with chopping calf kicks,
Touches him.
That jab is nasty. Topuria's doing that same thing with the hand.
Ilya had Emmett fully audited by round 2.
That leg is beat up.
Heavy. Huge combination for the Spaniard.
After a slick pullback, El Matador unleashed his patented combo,
Always in combination. Also, he doesn't throw one at a time.
then continued to maneuver with blistering counters.
And that adds up to open up for the offense. Now, you see that slide step? Beautiful back step right hand. Beautiful technique.
That was nasty.
To his credit, Josh never lost faith in his one-hitter quitter.
Oh.
But Topuria has always shared one sentiment. The bull is power,
slow.
the matador is the brain.
Topuria can slide in and slide out. In his face, nice hook. Good left hook from Emmett.
Yep.
So he
No
only
one he
engaged
would
in
have
his
died.
own terms.
How he's moved his shoulder side to side. Right. An IFB.
IFB, yeah.
He's making it a very fun
Oh,
fight
my
to watch.
goodness.
That jab. Look at he's staying in the
Oh,
pocket.
my goodness.
Nasty hook.
Emmett was particularly troubled by one-off jabs and low kicks.
Earlier rounds, he's not forcing
Oh.
big kick.
In this fight.
Oh, huge! As well, right? Very measured, not forcing anything.
Yeah.
Oh, this is an out.
By the 19-minute mark, Ilya put the left hook into action.
Josh Emmett. And
Oh, look at that uppercut. Oh, and a big right hand.
And when he couldn't get the finish on the ground,
Emmett in desperation mode now gives up the back. Man, it's hard to
he dusted off a forgotten uppercut.
That uppercut was heavy. And Emmett's still throwing back to the canvas now.
Still, neither 3 knockdowns nor the attempts to snatch the neck could break the gritty veteran.
Emmett survives.
Bite down on that goddamn mouthpiece and swing hard. In round 5, Emmett even looked reinvigorated.
He can still knock you out. You have to give him the 5th round to let everything hang.
Forcing El Matador to stick him with lead hand.
Attention. First blood. Sorry.
Hands on the move.
And he said, yeah, man. He goes, of course I want to fight.
Stay in the fight, taking patience.
A well-timed takedown followed by dynamic top control
Film from Ilya Topuria. Great scramble.
served as the final note.
Double Granby.
match, but if he wins, I wouldn't mind seeing him fight out.
This thrilling one-sided performance by Topuria cemented his spot as a legitimate title contender.
50 to 42 is a scorecard that we don't get generally in mixed martial arts.
I'm the next guy, without any doubt. And I want Alex to defend that belt and show to him and the whole world where his war's gonna end and mine's gonna start, so...
People often confuse my confidence for arrogance, but I've dedicated my whole life to this. All the things I sacrificed, all the work I put in. I assure you, people can't survive a week of living like me. They'd be dying to escape. By February 2024, Alexander Volkanovski had reigned over the featherweight kingdom for 5 straight years. Thorin Oakenshield's heir apparent demolished all past contenders for glory.
Pressure on Mendez. Rip into the body, drops him.
And with 5 successful title defenses, it even held the #1 spot on the pound-for-pound rankings. Following an inconsiderate venture up a weight class, Volk redeemed himself back at 145 with a dominant win over Yair Rodriguez.
Seeing our fighter meeting. Big right like Ortiz. Trying to close the distance. That would do it.
Alex just got off that.
Spanish television got extravagant to build anticipation. Ilya began to draw reactions gliding in and out.
And what strategy they devised.
Chopping down low.
With that low kick. So that's why I'm very interested.
To disguise his primary weapon.
Oh! He's got to be careful as he backs out. Oh, big right hand from Topuria.
The ever-elusive Volkanovski was kicking off the back foot.
Right away. A lot of kicks. Topuria. Another kick.
Switching stances seamlessly.
High-level experience. There is no comparison. No comparison. Adjustments. There's another beautiful inside look. He's punishing it.
All while chatting with the challenger.
Last opponent for Topuria, Josh Emmett, didn't throw any kicks.
Never letting Topuria get comfortable in close quarters.
Good knees.
Round 1.
But Topuria had vowed to have the final say. And in round 2, he started shuffling his offensive deck.
He doesn't give you a chance to pattern back straight. Ooh, that's a good...
Slipping the jab with ease.
You see the only...
And throwing his man off with feints.
Jabbing and moving, chipping away with the low kicks.
El Matador repeatedly played his ace.
He's trying to essentially be...
Looking to deliver a ramrod cross.
The lead hand is fast.
In order to do that, Topuria willingly ate a couple jabs.
There's another jab.
Snapped it off beautifully there.
And went all in. Hitting the jackpot with a hustler combo.
Glance, miss.
Boom! Oh, out cold.
Ilya thoroughly outclassed the grizzled champion.
Ilya, you called this.
Already in the next ring? Time for a gelato? Sort of.
My weapons in hand and ready to dance. Taking a new angle.
Got an enhanced weapon. Ready to use it.
I saw them first, though. First down win. Attention. The champion has been eliminated.
It came to fruition. How does this feel to you now?
I feel so happy right now. They're gonna tell you you can do it. But guess what? The only person you need to achieve anything this it's yourself. It was knowing always that one day I will become a UFC World Champion. It doesn't matter where you come from, if you know where you're going. It's much more important what's in front of you than what's behind you.
But tonight belongs to that man. Spain, Georgia, stand up, Ilia Topuria.
He landed some shots in the first round and got excited, but I told him, now it's my turn. I was 100% sure the moment was gonna come, and I always say, as soon as he decided to trade, he's going to sleep.
Pain that you were leaving us.
Becoming not.
I mean, I get it. It's pubs. Push whatever you want, but at least let us come with you.
You can rest me.
I mean, really? Because I expect you to go down and probably leave before I even get a chance to get there. Given how Apex players are.
Not everyone's the same.
Yeah, not everyone understands how to play a team game.
Moving to Echo for a better angle.
Second scanning.
They're chasing.
Target scanned and tracked. Attenzione, enemy here.
No. He's low.
Not only the first Georgian, but also the first Spanish UFC champion, Ilia earned widespread recognition. Beyond regular TV appearances, he graced magazine covers, took a ceremonial kick at Real Madrid Stadium.
Topuria has enjoyed that moment very much.
Hit it off with Lionel Messi, landed a cameo in a Marvel series, and even performed his own walkout song alongside Antonio Banderas.
Ay, 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 mi amor, ay, mi morena de mi corazón.
A biopic titled El Matador, covering Ilia's life, saw many Real Madrid players and other celebrities.
Extended light back here. Level 2.
Sending out a tracker dart.
Echo's got an angle. Moving there.
I've got an opponent in sight. They're far.
Current angle sucks. Switching it up. Extra supplies. Firepower is key. Next ring's far. You're older injured.
max level. Che bello. Ah, I'm an upgraded sparrow.
Ring bar with 45 seconds to go.
Tracker set.
You follow them now, alright?
Hey, raga, let's go there.
I need light ammo.
Watch out! Enemy here!
I go take the sweet angle.
Grazie.
Moving.
Zipline over there. The ring is moving and we're all outside. It's not great. Punch di cap.
I'm going that way. You hear that? There's a care package coming down.
Setting a tracker. Tracking an enemy. Let the ambush begin. Reloading. Took out an enemy. Who's next? Reloading.
Marcus bar with level 2 shield. It's a full squad team, people.
Standing for it. Attenzione. Enemy here.
Recharging shield.
Boom. Tracker set. Sending out the tracker dart.
Healing up. Enemy spotted.
Opponent there. Huh. They should not have given up their position.
Teammate, we got 3 here if you want to start making your way to help us.
Enemy's positions to your map. Whole team out. One less squad to hunt. Okay, only 2 enemy squads left. Time to say ciao. Reloading. Replicator dropping in.
I can craft you.
Brother, just fucking come play with us.
Getting shot at.
Holy fuck, you just chased one dude across the entire map, and it's top 3.
1 minute and the ring's a
Yes.
stone's throw. Even if you throw like a baby.
Did you just say get shit on? If I have more fucking kills and damage than you, and you're fucking talking like this, bro, and I'm level fucking 15,
Yes.
Getting a fresh angle.
go eat a bag of dicks then.
Rings nearby and it closes in 45.
Hey, relax with your gainers, my friend. You should die, so I'm gonna craft you.
Replicator here. Use it unless.
Bro, I don't want to die. I have good attachments.
You can always get them back. It's not looting legends.
That's the point. Why would I want to re-loot?
Shooting at us. Hope they suck at it.
It's not about the loot, it's about the player.
That's on me.
It's okay. I don't think anyone saw. Except whoever shot you.
Go craft teammate, go. So we can get the banner.
Just giving my shields a recharge. Rings around the corner. 10 left.
You're still mad? Are you mad?
Crafting. Un momento, per favore.
Don't worry. I got a squad mate spanner.
Oh, new support. We should see what's up over here.
Extra supplies here. Firepower is key.
complicated. Wait, what did I just say? Death finds a way.
This is your champion.
I'm the Jump Master. Oh, se lo dici tu.
The sun is shining bright as Jump Master. I'll lead. This landing area will prove beneficial. Loud and clear. I feel most alive when rapidly approaching my death.
Nice game.
Recharging my shields.
The batter's in my control, along with their fight. Evo harvesters are now available.
Tracker scanning. Healing. Enemy track.
Bring medical aid.
No way!
Time to move. This way. Cracked a subject. Upgraded and ready to fight to the death.
I still see everything. Introducing a new variable. My vision is clear.
Relax. You got everything under control. Recharging my shield.
Introducing a new variable. My vision is clear.
Charging my shield. Cover me. Un momento. Gotta heal. Setting a tracker. Un momento. Cover me. I aim the enemy's position to the map. Non c'è di che. Tracking an enemy. Took down an opponent. Reloading. Enemy there. Fast.
Attention. Delivering care package.
Package could be a deciding variable.
They're shooting at me. Reloading. Took down an opponent.
That was an overall good game. That was my last game because I don't wake up early
Please
tomorrow.
show up for the premiere. Meanwhile, Topuria's social media following surged past 7 million. But the wave of fame hasn't changed the newly crowned champ. Ilya dedicates all his free time to his family. He and his wife raise a son and a daughter, whom he calls his greatest treasures in life. In combat sports, championship gold turns you into a walking target. And none loomed closer to the familiar belt than Max Holloway. The former champ has always been about action on the feet.
From Rio on the UFC 212 post-fight show.
Setting a host of unprecedented octagon records. Holloway's durability deserves a special mention. After 29 fights and 1,379 significant strikes onto his chin, he had never been knocked out despite spending almost 7 full hours slugging it out. And in his most recent showing at the milestone UFC 300, the Hawaiian delivered one of the greatest knockouts in existence.
UFC 300! Oh my God!
Even with football's El Clasico roaring in the background, many Spanish fans chose MMA instead.
5 rounds
Right out of the gate, Topuria proposed a chin measuring contest, but as it got declined, Ilya shot for the hips.
Early shot from Topuria now.
Wow.
Next, El Matador used his signature half squats to launch a bomb over the top.
Good connection by Holloway.
Getting into his boxing range, attacking that calf. We've seen Max get hit with some kicks before against Alexander.
Once Max started biting on feints,
Leg kicks. One of Max's greatest weapons is his footwork.
Ilya would mix it up.
Leg, you really limit how he can move.
Cards in round 1.
Solid calf kick there from Topuria.
And punished him on the counter.
Entanglement of the legs.
By round 2, Holloway had caught on to the Matador's patterns.
Heard from early round 2. Oh, it's a cracking right now from the...
Leaning out of the way after his own jab.
For Ilya.
And once again, that Holloway...
Max made Topuria whiff and clipped him with a 1-2.
Oh, it's a cracking right now from the challenger.
But Ilya's kill shot was inching closer to the Hawaiian's jawline.
Right now, these guys are evenly matched. Topuria, though. Remember, Topuria takes 1.
Poking the gut with jabs.
The judges did not have...
He added a new layer with a left hook.
Oh, it's a big left hook.
Outposition Max in the pocket.
Some of these kicks. Oh, another big right hand.
And disguise the right hand missiles behind preemptive slips.
Oh, man. There it is.
The
Two
stomach.
hundred strikes already.
Wow, that's crazy.
Just gives the judges so much to look at. Right?
He's like playing on. Oh, nice right hand by.
Holloway stayed busy too,
Oh, nice.
stealing the closing portion.
Beautiful spinning body kick right to... Outstanding through 10.
They traded leather to kick off round 3.
That weapon a great effect in his 3-fight series with Holloway.
Cut there from Topuria, and he goes right back to the calf.
Oh, Ilya swayed side to side constantly, then fired a torpedo.
Head movement there by the champ.
Visibly rocked, Holloway experienced Flügelgeheimen for the first time.
But he was hurt. That's the first.
But there's no corners in the bullfighting pit.
This dude at 145.
My God, dude. Oh, my goodness.
Holy.
By faking a threat from the flank and slapping the block down, Topuria fired point blank
Slaps to set up this big right hand.
and sealed the deal with a hook.
Another
Working,
beautiful
notice
shot.
him. Oh, that left hook. Oh, my God. That's where he puts him down.
Snatching his 5th bonus in a row, El Matador remained humble on the mic.
Good night,
You said you would be the
todo.
first
Buenas
person
noches.
to knock Max Holloway out, and you did it. How does that feel?
To beat a legend like Max Holloway, it's something that I can't even believe it, you know. I just followed his entire career. He inspired me so much in my career, and I hope I'm gonna be a small portion of the example he has been for me, for the new generation. So all the credits to Max Holloway.
After defending his title, Ilya made it crystal clear. He wanted a showdown with the champ one division up, and the UFC's pound-for-pound king, Islam Makhachev. In early 2025, El Matador relinquished his featherweight belt and officially moved up to lightweight. But Makhachev, too, had been eyeing double champ status, making his own move to welterweight, and for now, their paths diverged. Up next, Topuria is set to challenge for the vacant lightweight gold. In an era where the UFC is seeing fewer global superstars, a fighter from a country just beginning to find its footing in MMA has already dismantled the best the sport had to offer. And is now
He
aiming
could.
to pack an entire stadium in his adopted home of Madrid. Given how quickly Topuria evolved.
It's gonna be a good fight.